You hear me? You hear me?
Copy, Bradford.
Okay.
I'm down at Mud Creek now.
It's a fucking hobble. It's a hobble. Fucking spit on me, jackass. Huh? Fucking spit on me. No, sorry for that. No, that's wrong. Pennsylvania State Trooper, you asshole. You fucking brave man, huh? Fucking spit on me, jackass. Asshole. Fucking you asshole. Are you fucking stupid? Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on. Give me a cup. Come on, I got a hot tie. Hold on. Let's play cup and pocket. Huh? Cup and play pocket. Fucking sit there. Oh, you're getting hot. He's fine, guys. Sit up, you motherfucker. Now get in that car. Get out. Okay. Get on the other side. Get in the car. Get in the car. I'm trying. On your side. Okay. On your side. Okay, like this? No, other side. Okay. Roll on your side. Okay, John! Roll on your side. Yes, sir. Now. Okay. Now, douchebag, I'm going to ask you a fucking question. You'll be answering yes, sir, or no, sir. Do you hear me? Yes, sir. Okay, what the fuck is your problem tonight? I was just having a problem. Yeah, you know what? You're going to have a hell of a tough night after you spit in my fucking face, jackass. Who do you think you're messing with? It's the Pennsylvania State Police. You're fucking chump. Fucking pull over means be pulled the fuck over. Okay, you're going to jail. You're going to be somebody's fucking butt popping fired. You hear me? Yeah. You fucking idiot.
Listen carefully as we replay the point in the video where the trooper claims Mr. Leone spits on him. Listen carefully. You will find something important is missing. The trooper claims in sworn court testimony that Mr. Leone spits a, quote, loogie in his face. Nowhere is there a sound of anyone spitting anything. The audio is so clear that you can hear Mr. Leone's breathing, but no spitting sounds are present. As a matter of fact, the only thing you do hear is a totally compliant and submissive prisoner in tremendous pain and an out-of-control state trooper.
Okay.
I'm down at Mud Creek now.
It's a fucking hobble. It's a hobble. Spit on me, jackass. Huh? Fucking spit on me.
Mr. Leone is willing to take a polygraph test and swear under oath that he did not spit on this trooper. Let's say for argument purposes that a shackled prisoner does spit on a police officer. It now begs the question, does a police officer have the right to beat a prisoner that is shackled and in custody even if the prisoner spits on him? The obvious answer is no. If you recall earlier in the video, an ambulance has been requested to transport Mr. Leone to the hospital. Instead, when the ambulance shows up, the trooper with the broken hand is transported to the hospital in the ambulance, and Mr. Leone is kept hogtied in the back of the patrol car. He is then transported to the hospital in the car with a stop along the way at the barracks. Please try to visualize what I am about to read to you from the official hospital report of Mr. Leone's first visit. And yes, I said first visit. Patient was carried to triage room by police. Patient's hands were with handcuffs, and patient's feet were tied together with a rope, and the rope was also tied to the patient's handcuffs. It goes on. Patient is awake and cooperative with an effect that is calm. As you can see from the hospital report, Mr. Leone is both cooperative and submissive with the emergency personnel. At one point, when the troopers are outside the examination room, he quietly tries to tell a nurse that the police have been beating him, and he begs her for help. One of the troopers overhears Mr. Leone's plea. All of the hospital personnel are ordered out of the exam room by the trooper, and a second beating and tasering episode is commenced. Mr. Leone is silenced. Video evidence of this second beating may be available through hospital video, which is still being explored. Naturally, the trooper's version of this incident is totally different. Sworn court testimony verifies that Mr. Leone was tasered multiple times during this altercation, but the official computer taser report was not provided to Mr. Leone's defense, even though it was requested. In the overall scheme of things, this beating is a very important event, and I will reference it a little later on. This beating and the events leading up to it were witnessed by the nurse who was attending to Mr. Leone. It was explained to me that she was not brought into the trial to testify on Mr. Leone's behalf due to her extreme fear for her own personal safety. It was not Mr. Leone that she was afraid of. Mr. Leone was treated and released from the hospital and placed back into the custody of the troopers. Unfortunately, Mr. Leone left the hospital in worse shape than he had arrived in. He was transported to the Towanda barracks without incident. While at the barracks, Mr. Leone was processed and his official charges were typed up. In the troopers' trial testimony, they made it clear that he is calm and cooperative during this process. Some very strange and questionable things happen over the next few hours that will end up with Mr. Leone being transported back to the hospital. This time, he will be unconscious. While at the State Police Barracks, the troopers attempted to arraign Mr. Leone via internet video link with the on-call duty magistrate. Mr. Leone is warned ahead of time that he should not look into the camera and that he is not to say anything other than answer the judge's questions. Mr. Leone jumps at the chance to beg the judge for help once the video link is established. According to Mr. Leone, the troopers disconnected the video link and claimed it was a malfunction. This disconnect can be verified by the on-call duty magistrate. According to Mr. Leone, he is once again beaten and tasered. Things start to get real fuzzy from this point forward. They claim while Mr. Leone was being walked to the waiting patrol car in order to be transported to the prison, he tried to escape. The troopers claim that Mr. Leone fought so viciously and violently, using only his feet, which were shackled at the time, that they had no choice but to mace him and repeatedly beat him into submission with their batons. Please take a look at the hospital diagram of Mr. Leone's injuries. All of the injuries noted on the assessment diagram are on Mr. Leone's back. Mr. Leone's vital signs are very alarming. His pulse rate is now 132. Respirations are 28 per minute, and his blood pressure is a staggering 174/109. The triage report states Patient unable to explain events prior to his arrival to the ED. There are many conflicting statements made on this emergency department report, which will be discussed at a later date. One of the most concerning is an entry made at 6:10 a.m. The attending nurse states, "Patient is shaking and disoriented to time and events." It appears on the report that 26 minutes later, Mr. Leone is discharged from the hospital back into the custody of the troopers. According to this report, no blood was drawn, no urine was gathered, and no x-rays or CAT scans were performed. After being discharged from the hospital, Mr. Leone was transported by troopers to the Bradford County Correctional Facility. Officials at the prison were horrified by the condition of Mr. Leone when he arrived. The following image is graphic, so please prepare yourself for what you are about to see. This is an official mugshot taken by the prison of Mr. Leone that, to my knowledge, has not been altered in any way. Note that the prison used a vest of some sort to cover Mr. Leone's blood-covered clothing. I have seen prisoners of war that have been treated better. The officials were so alarmed that the on-call physician for the prison was called in to do a complete physical exam and documentation of Mr. Leone's injuries, lest they be blamed for any of his injuries going forward. Mr. Leone had high-quality private health insurance when he was incarcerated. He begged the prison officials to allow him to obtain medical care at no charge to the prison or the county for severe headaches and dizziness that persist to this day. His requests were denied. At some point after Mr. Leone was incarcerated, he thinks he was arraigned. Regardless, it was well in excess of Pennsylvania's 6-hour preliminary arraignment rule. Believe it or not, this story so far spans less than 24 hours. Mr. Leone's nightmare was just beginning. Mr. Leone's bail was set at $250,000, even though he was not a flight risk. He languished in prison for 6 months before his trial was conducted. His public defender was extremely overburdened with countless other cases, and the state police threw the book at Mr. Leone. 24 counts of criminal misconduct. There is an old saying, what you don't have in quality, make up for in quantity. And that is exactly what the state police did. Remember the trooper that broke his hand on Mr. Leone's face while punching it? Well, Mr. Leone was charged with aggravated assault on a police officer for breaking that trooper's hand on his face. Remember when Mr. Leone was beaten and tased on the hospital stretcher? Well, he was charged with assaulting that trooper. The troopers also charged Mr. Leone with DUI, even though his blood test came back negative for alcohol or illegal drugs. I believe this case became so important to the state police that they convinced the district attorney of Bradford County to try the case himself, as opposed to one of his underlings. It is a decision the district attorney would later regret. Regardless of the less than stellar defense, the jury read right through the state police and district attorney's smokescreen. Mr. Leone was found not guilty or had charges dismissed on 20 of the 24 charges. All of the serious charges were gone. It looked like Mr. Leone should have been sentenced to time served. That did not happen. Mr. Leone has been sentenced to 1.5 to 4 years in prison and is still incarcerated. I believe with all of my heart that he will not be released until after the statute of limitations has expired on the crimes that have been committed against him.